Welcome to Veza, the Nextgen IGA solution that helps you answer the most vital governance and security question. Who can take what action on what data? It sounds simple. So simple, it might surprise you that most organizations are nowhere near being able to give an accurate and comprehensive answer, especially since data started moving to the cloud. The truth is that a simple question can hide a lot of complexity. Let's break it down. The who here includes human employees managed through an identity provider like Okta, local accounts managed outside of any IDP, external contractors, machine users, service accounts. And meanwhile, data encompasses structured data in on-premise or cloud databases, unstructured data in SharePoint, Box, Google Drive, sensitive data stored in SaaS apps or custom apps you've built yourself, and of course, data held in your cloud infrastructure, often across more than one provider. Even understanding what action depends on knowing dozens of complex IAM standards. For example, there are almost 100 possible permissions you can have on an AWS S3 storage bucket. That's one resource type on one cloud provider. To make sense of all this complexity, you need Nextgen IGA capabilities. Veza connects to your IDP, your HR platform, all your apps and data systems, both on-premise and in the cloud, and captures authorization metadata, which we weave into our proprietary authorization graph, which tracks every point between an identity and its permissions to create, read, update, or delete a specific resource. So you know that Christian can read data in 3 Snowflake tables, because he's a member of the sales group in Okta, which has access to the sales local role in Snowflake. Now, this is the simplest possible example, but even here, notice that we need to put together 2 separate data sets. Snowflake knows what access the sales local role grants, and Okta knows which users are members of the groups that get that local role. Neither Snowflake nor Okta on their own can link Christian to his specific permissions. Veza can. There's more to your identity universe than one identity provider, though. Let's broaden the range of identities we're looking at. For example, I can look at an S3 bucket that contains personally identifying information and see all identities that can read that data. And I mean all identities, not just the Okta users that I might be able to surface in a traditional IGA tool, but also the external tech support contractors managed in a completely different IDP. All of the local AWS IAM users, some of whom are clearly human employees that should be managed through Okta, but aren't. Veza knows about them. Plus, machine identities like the AWS service principals that give other AWS services access to S3. So, using the power of the authorization graph, we can know all identities with access to any resource. I've used S3 and Okta in this example, but we could just as easily show Azure AD users with access to Snowflake tables, machine users with access to Salesforce accounts, or external users with access to source code in GitHub. So now you have a good idea of how Veza helps you answer that question of who can take what action on what data. Now, let's look at a few ways we can proactively use these insights to safeguard your apps and data. Here's a graph showing all identities with access to a table containing sensitive financial data in Snowflake. I want to make sure I know about it anytime a new identity gets access to this table. But I don't need to come and look at this every day. Veza can monitor it for me. I can create an automation rule. For example, I can specify that anytime the results increase by more than 0, in other words, anytime a new identity gains access, Veza will create a ticket in ServiceNow, assigned to the appropriate team, and containing all the information needed to fix the issue. With Veza, issues like privilege creep and access misconfigurations can be identified as soon as they happen and fixed before they can be exploited. We also use the insights from the authorization graph to revolutionize access reviews. Gartner found last year that most cloud identities use less than 3% of the permissions they have. Yet, access reviews typically result in recertification of 90% or more of user access. What's going on here? Legacy IGA tools just don't show the level of detail you need to find and fix excess privilege. With Veza, access reviews go deeper. A manager or a data owner can approve or deny a specific action that an identity can perform on a specific resource. Hey, Irma can delete data from the customer table. She shouldn't be able to do that. And we can automate the access review outcomes, for example, by raising a ticket for every rejected line, so we can be sure that the access is actually removed. So, with Veza, you can truly understand who can and should have what access to what apps and data in your organization, and you can harness that knowledge to continuously monitor who has access to your data crown jewels, to find and eliminate excess privilege for all your identities across all your environments, and to conduct faster and more effective access reviews and certifications. And we've only scratched the surface in this brief demo. To learn more, visit Veza.com, where you can read more about what you can do with Veza, take a self-guided tour of key integrations like AWS, Snowflake, and Salesforce, or join a weekly live demo. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.